This is the Malaysian state of Sarawak, vast, rich in resources, and home to many indigenous groups. But its future hangs in the balance, under threat from certain businessmen and politicians.
The Land and Survey Department, they are the one that issues this license. Of course, it's from the CM's directive, but I can speak to the CM very easily.
Can you?
Yes.
And do you think he will agree to it?
Yeah. He was the one who gave us that land.
Okay.
Yeah. He's my cousin. So.
This footage was shot secretly by an investigator from Global Witness, posing as an investor. The women in the video are cousins of Abdul Mahmud Taib, Sarawak's chief minister, and daughters of his predecessor. His portfolio includes land allocation. In 2011, he gave his cousins 5,000 hectares of land for a nominal sum of $300,000. Having secured agriculture and timber licenses, they were trying to sell it a year later for more than $16 million. We visited an indigenous community who live in the area. They were shocked to find out what was going on.
We will fight on at all costs. We let them take timber in the past, but we had no idea they were planning to take our land.
Indigenous people have special rights over much of the land in Sarawak, but there's scant regard for those rights. Here, close to a World Heritage Site, sits another piece of land. 32,000 hectares, estimated value $76 million. The Chief Minister is implicated in another video for indirectly soliciting a kickback, likely worth millions of dollars, in return for issuing a concession over the land that many indigenous people regard as theirs.
We know it's the Chief Minister who gives out licenses to companies. He lives, the rest of us suffer. We have no land to farm. Our rivers have become muddy.
In the last 30 years, Sarawak has become one of the largest exporters of tropical timber. Taib Mahmud has had the good fortune of ruling one of the richest states in Malaysia. But that wealth has not been seen or felt by many people in Sarawak, some of whom remain the poorest in the country. Taib did not respond to Al Jazeera's request for an interview. Malaysian anti-graft officials say they're investigating Taib, but have declined to comment on the case. Taib's critics say that's testimony to the power he wields, a power that many believe comes at their expense. Florence Looi, Al Jazeera, Sarawak, Malaysia.
And joining me now from Canberra is Greg Lopez. He's a Malaysia expert with the Australian National University. Greg, thank you very much for being with us today. Now, really, this is not anything new, is it? And to many Malaysians, this doesn't come as a surprise. Allegations against the Chief Minister of Sarawak has been ongoing. Allegations of cronyism, of corruption, has been ongoing since he took power in 1981. So why do you think he's been able to get away with it for so long?
Good afternoon. The main reason that not only Taib Mahmud but any politician aligned to the ruling party can get away with corruption is the nature of Malaysia's political system. It is a political system that is based on patronage, and as long as you can deliver the votes, you are basically untouchable.
Well, I want to pick you up on that particular top point there where you said votes. Now, one of Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak, one of his promise when he came to power in 2009 was to crack down on corruption. Now, he's facing an election this year. How do you think his track record has been so far?
Well, I think there is sufficient evidence in the public sphere that Prime Minister Najib Razak has failed spectacularly in failing to curb corruption. And the most recent example before this video was that of the Minister for Women's Development, Shahrizad Jalil, who is also the chief of the Women's Wing. Now, the Prime Minister merely asked her to step down and did not take any action against her. So that's just one example to show that corruption is entrenched in the political system, and Prime Minister Najib Razak has failed to actually make any dent in reducing corruption.
Greg, that being the case, you said that corruption is entrenched in the Malaysian political system. What does it take? What does it take in order to get rid of corruption within Malaysia?
Well, that's probably a million-dollar question. Certainly, one quick way would be to to have a change in the system. That could be one way, but it is not a guarantee that the system will change, because the nature of how business is done in Malaysia, the perversiveness of the state in the economic sectors, the granting of licenses and so forth, means that this is not only something that the ruling coalition can address. There must be bipartisan support on both sides that corruption is the #1 problem in Malaysia, and there must be bipartisan support that corruption must be tackled. Only then can we make some headway in addressing corruption.
Greg, thank you very much for speaking with us. Greg Lopez there from the Australian National University.